A big thing for autistic people is working through feeling more authentic in themselves. When we've disconnected from ourselves, one of the difficulties becomes after a while understanding what's going on with us because we become so other referencing that we are just aware of what's expected of me. What I don't know is how am I feeling. When I was in my 20s, I didn't have an inner voice. Even most of my 30s, I couldn't be aware of having opinions about something because I was constantly in the hyperarousal zone, not tuned into what I'm actually feeling or thinking. So that becomes a starting point for a lot of people when they come to therapy is wanting to connect with themselves. So we start with connecting with ourselves. So I put on the PDF this hot cross bun worksheet. It comes from cognitive behavioral therapy as a modality, which is not something I use a lot, but I actually find that this is a good worksheet for starting to reconnect with ourselves. So if you're looking at it on your screen, you will see that there's different bubbles for thoughts, emotions, bodily sensations, and behaviors. What I would say to people when they're trying to become more connected with themselves is to write down if something's happened, write down what they've noticed in themselves first. A lot of people, if so common scenario would be I'm sat with a client, they're telling me about something, they've had a meltdown, I'm saying, what happened? What triggered it? And quite often they'll say, no, I don't. And we'll talk about what was going on. But I might just ask them to gently think about what did your body feel like in that moment? So maybe they were sat in math class and what were you feeling? Can you remember? What were your thoughts? So people will be aware of different things. Often for my clients who are really disconnected from themselves, one of the things they can access most easily is their bodily feelings. Um, so they might notice that they've got a feeling of tension somewhere in their body. Another thing that they can access easily will be behaviors. We tend to be aware of our body and our thinking, but also behaviors. So self-harming behaviors, which can range from cutting to picking. I do a lot of nail picking or fidgeting. And so when you're thinking at the end of the day about something that just stands out for you, start writing down as you're thinking about that moment, write down what comes up for you first. I use the example, if I use myself as an example, I'll use the example of being cut off in traffic and somebody cuts me off and I think immediately, oh, I'm going to kill them. And because that's such a different thought than what's usually going on in my head, I notice that thought. It stands out like, oh, okay, that doesn't normally sound like me. Um, so that's my first thing. That's the bubble I would fill out first would be thoughts, because that's the thing I've become aware of. And then the next thing I'm aware of will be my body. I'll start to notice tension is in my body. But this is not always the way it goes. Sometimes I'm watching a movie with my husband. It's something exciting, and I'll be really picking at my nails quite badly. And then suddenly I'll notice, oh, what am I doing? And then I realize, oh, I'm tense. Obviously, the movie is very tense and exciting, so that's what I'm doing. Starting to write things down inside the bubbles helps us to link things up to each other. And then what happens in the, you know, next time around is we're aware of it in real time. It may be that we do this project for a few weeks where we're just writing it down after the fact, reflecting on it. But then suddenly we'll start, because we've done the reflection, it'll start to happen in real time that we'll be stood somewhere and realize, oh, I'm feeling really anxious right now. Then we start to tune into what are our thoughts? What are our feelings? This is how I start with people when they're completely detached from themselves. They don't know what's going on. This is one of the exercises I recommend. And over time, they'll start to know in the moment. That's the first step is just know how you feel.